CyberBay 2026. What a great event this was here in March in Tampa of 2026. Of course, Arnie Bellini heads this great initiative for Tampa Bay here. The CyberBay 2026 event was excellent. Lots of great attendees, a great mix of attendees, great keynotes, great breakouts, and of course, great vendors. And I was there, had 4 great conversations, wonderful conversations. Sandy Cronenberg started it off when AI can pretend to be you. Very interesting discussion with Sandy on that. Catherine Karow, really intriguing woman. I really enjoyed our conversation. AI scams are exploding. Are you ready? Very interesting conversations. Then, of course, with Linda Nehan of incredible science, policy, and smart work in a changing world. Do you understand what it means, these policy departments and universities and what they do? I didn't. She sheds great light on it, great insight. Wonderful talking to Linda. And then lastly, Kendra Seiler. Really interesting talking with Kendra, how art, AI, and neuroscience shape the human mind. Really great conversation with Kendra. I wish her well, and thank you all for your time. And thank you for watching and listening. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How did I lose the weight? Just one word: discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission: how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision: growth through learning from others.
It's really nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you.
You grew up in the theater.
I did, yeah. I bit the theater bug in like 9th grade. My next door neighbor actually was my drama teacher. So I did that all through high school and loved it. I was already a bit of a computer nerd at that point. But yeah. And then I went to college for it.
For?
Theater.
Wow.
And art.
Wow.
A bit of a departure.
Yeah. A lot of times you don't see the computer people doing
No,
that.
yeah, you usually don't. I think it's an interesting part of my brain.
Yeah.
I'm neurodivergent, so I have the ability to visualize, systems, and it makes sense to me. I don't know.
And when you were in theater, you were an actor. You were like
acting, yes, but I'm good at mimicry.
What is it? What's the difference?
So mimicry, you're able to meet someone and understand their movements, their body, their behavior intimately enough to be able to go and recreate that on stage.
So you can mimic me?
I mean, not perfectly. I'm not going to sound exactly like you, but I physically could.
Interesting. Just by our observation here.
Yes.
But when you're told to act, one has to kind of create that character.
Absolutely. Yeah, you build it up over time. That's what all those rehearsals are for, right? You're practicing getting that movement right, getting everything right. How you walk, how you breathe, how you lift your shoulders when you're talking, how your hands move, everything. So it takes a lot.
Wow. And because of this, you don't have any stage fright?
No. Yeah, that's actually the positive thing. I will say I'm not good networking, going around just randomly talking to people, but on stage I'm fine.
Isn't
it's random, I know.
Yeah. And do you do any theater now?
I was doing community theater on the side. I sort of, I was wanting to do theater, and then my health got a little worse, and I needed health insurance, really. That's what it came down to. And so I sort of fell back to my second love, which was tech, and started working in the tech industry. And I was already programming and front end when I went to college, so it felt natural to move into a webmaster role.
I see.
Back when that was actually a thing.
Yeah.
And then
now.
I moved up the hard way in tech, help desk to helping the supercomputer, and then from there.
When you say programming front end, you mean the UI, you mean the interface?
Yeah, for individual programming languages for the front end, user interface side. Yeah.
I see. Now, Kat, you have something that I can't pronounce. Ankylosing
Ankylosing spondylitis.
What should we know about that?
It's a hereditary autoimmune condition that affects your skeletal system. So I I have a lot of symptoms like somebody with MS physically, a lot of pain every day when I wake up. And I have flare-ups that it's basically my body's fighting itself on a regular basis. So it makes life a little bit difficult, but you know.
In this fast-paced MSP landscape, how do you stay ahead? Introducing MSPinfluencer.com, your ultimate hub for MSP news, insights, and community connection powered by Forza Dash. More than 75,000 MSPs subscribe to our MSP Influencer Pulse weekly newsletter, staying informed and ahead of industry trends. Tune in to emerging podcasts from Joey Pinz and leading MSP voices, offering essential tips, powerful insights, and success stories. Explore our multi-authored blogs, crafted specifically for MSP leaders, delivering fresh perspectives and actionable strategies. Celebrate excellence with the industry-leading Forza MSP Influencer Awards, recognizing innovation, leadership, and impact in the MSP community. Join thousands of MSP professionals who trust MSPinfluencer.com to grow their business and expand their networks. MSPinfluencer.com, where today's MSP leaders connect, collaborate, and conquer, all powered by the Forza platform, helping MSP vendors work effectively with MSPs and helping MSPs grow.
But you have a sunny disposition.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. And how does tech help you? I mean, it seems...
Well, I was lucky to fall back into this career. I've always loved computers, and I found them fascinating, from the time I built my first one. So it was lucky for me to be able to fall back into a career that just went gangbusters from there, And then, of course, COVID happened, and it even helped me even more because of my disability. I have flare-ups where I have mobility issues.
Wow.
I can't physically get to work.
Wow.
And so I would miss work. And then I had attendance issues with work, and all of that just compounds. And if you can't work remotely and there aren't enough remote jobs, then you're just left. To drift. And so it was like, okay, well, I need better health insurance. I need a job where I can sit at a computer and, and COVID, remote jobs popped up, and I was able to move from one company to a DOT software company, then to Apple, then to, projects for the White House.
Wow. What's it like at Apple?
Apple, when I was there, was very disjointed. Like, they had a lot of people doing managerial work.
Really?
Lots of managers. It seemed like an overwhelming amount of managers and project managers because they didn't have processes automated and streamlined very well. And while I was there, we literally transitioned them to a new project managing system to try to clean it up. But it was a bit of a cluster, I'll be honest.
Wow. It sounds like too many cooks and not enough
Absolutely,
chefs.
yeah. And then they wanted us to move back to Apple Park, and I was like, nope, not.
What's Apple Park?
California.
Oh.
Yeah, Silicon Valley. It's a giant campus they had built, and then COVID happened, and everybody left, and it's like just sitting there, It's a beautiful campus. I'm just not going to commute an hour and a half to work every day.
Is this the new Circle building?
The Circle building, yeah, that's the one.
It's a fascinating company, $1 trillion company.
It's really fascinating. And honestly, what I was doing was managing all digital imagery and editing for the App Store and Apple.com. So anytime there was a new release or Chinese New Year and something was coming out, all of that stuff that had to be done for that, I was managing to make sure it was getting put together and then published.
Wow.
So it was, but there's a lot of cooks in a lot of kitchens, and you're having to manage it, So it's lots of cats.
Coming from small business, it's very tough when I have these larger clients like that, and there's the layers you have to go through in these unnecessary meetings.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah, I've been with a number of companies consulting, and then I went to GuidePoint Security for a while, and I was managing an AppSec team, and they have a bunch of clients, like United Airlines, Kraft Foods, and some banks.
Right.
And it just becomes such a bloated organization, and they get very siloed as they get larger, right? And then it creates such a cluster of communication issues and code issues and pipeline issues. It's just so coming in afterwards and being able to identify each of those problems and then smooth them out, it's kind of what I ended up being good at. Because I had to do it so much.
Right, and got used to it.
Yeah. I recognize patterns.
Tell me about that.
That's just part of the
From theater?
neurodivergency, I think. So I recognize patterns easier.
Give me an example.
Well, in code, that's a good one, when you are looking at a process. Like, for example, I came into a company one time and they were using Salesforce. A lot of companies use Salesforce. Salesforce can be a fantastic tool, but it can also be a very bloated tool that you don't know what you're doing with, right? I came in and they had created a flow for their sales team, right, that had, I think it was like 15 or 20 steps to get to like the final closing. And it was like, okay, this is bloated for absolutely no reason. Why? So then I had to go through and identify each one of those steps. And then once you can identify why those are there, why they put them there. Do we actually need it there? No, we don't need that there. It shouldn't be there.
Wow.
So you have to map the whole thing, be able to visualize that, and then clean it up.
And if you're coming from the outside, sometimes it's less difficult to see these issues.
Absolutely. And you also don't have the bias of being in a department, right? So, and you have a frame of reference that you're closed by. So, and you're not going to your teammates and going, so what's this process look for you? What does this And that's my job. And I can come in there and it doesn't matter who you are.
Wow.
What are you doing? What's your process? What does it look like? And what do you need it to do?
Wonderful. We're here at CyberBay event here in Tampa. What's some of your goals today and tomorrow?
I'm going to go watch a talk by a friend of mine here at 11 o'clock, which should be great. He's hosting TEDx Sarasota, which I'm talking next week, so I'm going to meet up with him. Thank you.
Oh, that's fun.
And then today at 4, I have a talk on the new gold rush.
Explain.
How AI is supercharging cybercrime as a service. Yeah.
Is this going to be your first TEDx?
Yes.
And it's going to be on?
Data privacy rights.
It's right here in Sarasota. Maybe I should go.
You should. I hope you do.
I went to the one here for University of Tampa on Bayshore. I did one. I did one back in October. Yeah, and they're great.
Are they? It's my first.
It's a lot of work.
See. It is a lot of work, yeah. I think I've rewritten my speech a million times at this point. Norman, I'm about to meet up with him, but he was laughing at me probably. This is another version. I'm so sorry. Don't.
And you think you have it, and
you
can review it.
And then you're working on it on stage, and you're like, okay, that needs to be fixed. I can't do that. Yeah, it's just, we'll get there.
It's a lot to it. Tell me about Zora Safe.
Zora Safe is a company I started. My mom got scammed, and my sister has kids, and they're about to that age where they're about to get devices, and it's like there's so many people in my family that I want to protect, and I started looking for tools on the market to solve that problem of scams and fraud, and I couldn't find anything, and so I sat down with my sister and I said, I think we could build something to fix this. And I've worked on the cybersecurity side, but enterprise, corporate level for so long. I know we have the tools to fix this. They're just cost prohibitive, and they're not set up for the everyday user, right? And there's also a barrier to market there. The everyday user has a lack of understanding of how bad it has gotten. Those of us in cybercrime totally understand that. We're seeing it on a regular basis, the increase. And we're kind of panicky about fixing those gaps as fast as we can.
Wow.
But the everyday user, they don't realize how easy it is to create an AI mimicked voice and call your mom and fake a car wreck, and you need to send money, It's very easy. It takes 3 seconds of your voice to make an AI generated deepfake of it. 3 seconds, and that's it. And we're seeing people across the board get scammed. And Florida, we are the #1 target for scams and fraud. We are the #1. We're leading the nation in losses for scams and fraud. Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it? And I think identity theft is right behind it.
Because of the elderly population?
Yes, most of it. Yeah, the retirees are the #1 target now. Kids are now the #3 target. Yeah, and they are wanted for different things, right? So kids are wanted for their credit, and they go immediately for identity. Because then they're using that identity for years before that child ever gets 18, applies for their first credit card and finds out. I know about this intimately. My mom's wallet was stolen when I was a kid. And it was years until we found out. And it was a warrant out for, I think, my arrest and my sister's arrest in multiple states. We weren't even old enough to have bank accounts at this point. And it took us years of living in that red tape to fix it. So think about that. Now, 1 in 4 kids will have their identity stolen before they're 18 now, right? And that's just starting life in the red. It's terrifying. Yeah, but the senior population are the #1 target, like villages. is the #1 most attacked zip code in America.
Is that right?
Yes.
In Orlando, wow.
And Sarasota and this area are right behind it because you
Wow.
have a lot of retirees and a lot of retirees that have savings, decent retirement accounts. And that's why we talk about, Zora Safe, I go around and I raise awareness on this all the time because that's really the crux of the issue. You have to know you're under attack to be able to fight back. And if you don't realize you're under attack, you're not going to fight. You're not going to recognize what they're doing to fight, So that's it. Zora Safe, we also built a mobile platform to protect people from it. So it's an app you can go download, and it'll stop scams and fraud. And you can talk to Zora. It's a little fox. She'll answer your cybersecurity questions.
Wow.
And I built the AI to process over 80% of all of the processing on device.
Wow.
So we can sift out things like protected information, photos that your kids are sending to somebody by accident, that kind of stuff. That's all in our wheelhouse because we want to actually be able to holistically protect the family and not just one channel, like just SMS or just phone calls.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing. The gaps are where they get in.
And some common practices people should employ to protect themselves?
Right now, freeze your credit. I know
Really?
it's a pain when you have to go and apply for things, but how often do you actually apply for something? And really, if you're applying for it quickly, do you need to apply for it?
Interesting.
Right? So freeze your credit right now, and especially for your children. If you have children, there's absolutely no reason for it to be open.
Right.
Go freeze it. Your parents, your family, just sit down and have a conversation and set a family code word. I know it's silly. I know it sounds silly, but if your mother gets an AI-generated deepfake call of you or your child, and she sends money, are you going to feel bad you didn't set that code word? Yeah, you will. And it takes 5 seconds to do it. Scammers, they can create an AI-generated deepfake. They cannot deepfake a code word you set with your family at the dinner table, right? So those are 2 easy ones right off the bat.
Right off the bat.
Yeah.
What if discipline wasn't about punishment, but about unlocking your best self? I spent 2.5 years writing Discipline for Greatness because discipline changed my life. And I know it can change yours too. This isn't theory. Inside, you'll find real, practical steps you can use immediately to focus better, build stronger habits, reduce stress, accomplish your goals, and bring more balance to your life. Whether you're trying to get healthier, improve your career, or simply feel more control, this book gives you the framework. Start today. Grab your copy of Discipline for Greatness at joeypinz.com/book. Thank you.
And once that code word is revealed, they need to refresh it?
Well, yeah. So code words, yeah, absolutely. If somebody figures out your code word, for
Right.
sure. But you don't want to set something that's going to be easy. You don't want to
Yeah.
use your dog's names or something
Right.
because that's easy to figure out, right? We actually, in my app, that's funny, I set a rotating family passphrase.
Interesting.
And it rotates every 10 minutes. And every member of that family, the grandparents, the children, the parents, whatever, they get the same passphrase. And all they have to do is open the app and say, okay, what's the passphrase?
Just like an authenticator app.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But easier
But easier.
because it's for seniors and kids.
Right. Yeah. Does AI frighten you, concern you, give you hope?
Both. Yeah, I love AI. I love tech. So, I wouldn't be in this career if I didn't. And I see so much hope from what we can do with it,
Yeah,
what we
me
can
too.
create and discover. But AI also has a distinct negative side, and we're watching that daily get worse, and we're not combating it fast enough. So, hence the reason for Zora Safe,
Right.
honestly. There are not enough protections direct to consumer right now. There are quite a few that are hitting the market for enterprise, but there's just not enough to help us, regular people, And AI is supercharging cybercrime as a service. It's making that barrier to access that just is gone now, right? So, and the barrier to mass manipulate and hyper realistically manipulate people, there's no barrier, right? So we're watching the whole landscape shift, which is why now retirees are the #1 target, kids are #3, and small businesses are #2.
And small businesses are #2.
Yep. Not the big boys.
Right. Although we hear about them, but they're far and few between, right? We don't hear about the small
absolutely.
businesses.
No,
Yeah.
you don't.
Yeah.
But that's because the vast majority go out of business right after. They can't recover. The numbers are pretty sad and scary about that, actually. And they're a massive target, and they don't realize it. And the number one attack vector now is your mobile device.
Huh.
Not a computer. Mobile device.
Because it's open and it's connected to the Wi-Fi.
People aren't careful about it.
Right.
You join Wi-Fi in the airport, right? How many of you have joined Wi-Fi in the airport? Don't join Wi-Fi in the airport.
Right.
I mean, or here. We're at a cybersecurity conference. When I was a kid, we'd come here to hack to cybersecurity conferences. That's where we'd practice. There'd be the CTF competitions, and when you're not in competition, you're practicing.
Wow.
Right? And this was before Hack the Box. So then Hack the Box came, and then we hacked in that, and that was safer, and that was great. But this was like a practice ground, because everyone here should know, right? This is back in the day, okay? Like, but that's,
fun.
you know, and airports, things like that are a high probability of having that already there. And all you have to do is create a spoof network that looks identical to the airport one, and you've got 15 million people signing into it.
Right.
I mean, that's so fast, right? And QR codes is a big one. People have no idea how many bad QR codes are out there, and they scan them, and that opens automatically on your device.
Right.
Right? So it can be an executable file that you're scanning, and you have no idea. And I walked around a conference. I'm a real nerd here. I'm going to reveal. I was at Dragon Con with my partner, and we were walking around, and there were QR codes at literally every booth in like the artist's alley, and I was like, I'm not going to scan any of these QR. What the hell is this?
Who are these people?
And he laughed at me, and he was like, babe, no one is thinking about that. They're all scanning them. Like, and then he goes, is there an app for that? And I was like, I don't know, but I'm going to build it. So that's part of our app too. So,
Kat, is there a question you wish more people would ask you?
Gosh. Oh, that's so loaded. Yeah. In tech, yes. In being a female entrepreneur, definitely yes. Yeah. Being a female in tech, yes. I was at a Women in Tech event, a panel. I was a panelist like 2 nights ago, a Thai women event here in Tampa. And there was a man in the crowd that actually stood up and asked us a question. And I was really, really happy he did, because it opened up a really powerful conversation. And he said, I have been in this entrepreneur environment for a while, and I don't see the difference between the male and female entrepreneur. Can you explain it from your perspective, what that was like? And I have never had anybody ask me that, and
Great
it is
question.
a very, very distinct difference being a female in this environment, in a male-dominated environment. Cybersecurity through my career it's gotten so much better.
Yeah.
Back in the day, there were no females in my department. I mean, when they hired the first female director in the IT department at UF, I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then I left, and I kept, I just pushed. I pushed open those doors, and I sat down on those chairs, and I opened the conversation. But that is hard.
Yeah.
So hard to do, especially when your ideas are being stolen, when sexual harassment. I mean, there's so many things that we go through that other people don't think about.
Some examples?
Sexual harassment's a good one.
Yeah.
I was at a Florida Venture conference last week, actually, or the week before last, with my sister, and a venture capitalist at an event came up to her and sexually harassed her, and then followed it up with, you shouldn't wear heels, you can't run from me. Yeah. I mean, this is the kind of thing that women deal with, but it's part of our experience in life. That wasn't the first time. It's not going to be the last time. It happens.
Horrible.
Yeah, it is.
What should male entrepreneurs be more aware of?
Your female counterparts. Listen to them. They might be quiet because they don't have your confidence. They're not empowered to talk like you are. Let them. Give them the space to talk. And promote them, because their brains are what's important.
Yes.
Not what they are saying in a boardroom or, how they're schmoozing with the other men in the department. Their work is what should matter. And my God, don't steal a female's ideas because she's not louder than you.
That happens.
Hell yeah, it does. Happened to me multiple times. I actually, one time right after college, I started working for Verizon Wireless because they paid well and I could go right into the tech department. I was actually physically fixing phones, like replacing the microphones back in the day when we had flip phones and, did that stuff. But we were a top 10 store in the US. Very, very busy, high foot traffic. Randomly in Spartanburg, South Carolina, though. There was no other Verizon for like a tri-county area. So everyone would come in there, which meant we had incredibly long lines. And at that point, I was like basically managing this like tech team at this. And we'd have lines like 30, 40 people out the door waiting because they drove an hour to come see us to get something fixed, right? I mean, massively bad. And I learned really quickly if I lifted up my head, made eye contact with somebody when they came in the door, smiled at them, and just said, "I'll be right with you," that it lifted the customer satisfaction immediately. Then I moved to the next step that was going out to the line and actually saying, "Hey, what can I help you with?" "Okay, that's this line over here," because I realized we were sending them different places after they got to us, right? Once that, I started making a list, and then after that, we improved it and put somebody at the door greeting them and making a list. "What are you here for?" "Okay, that's this line over here." That increased our sales, our customer satisfaction. Our store went from not being a top 10 to being a top 10 in the US. And do you know who took credit for that? The store manager, and then my district manager got a nationwide award for it. Yeah.
Never recognizing you.
No, and you know what happened a year later? It went nationwide. So my customer service process.
These policies.
Yes, and now it's a kiosk in the Verizon store and the Apple store, which defeats the purpose of actually greeting a customer when I designed the system. But you know, that's that was the first time I experienced it. And then I went to UF, and I had a similar experience there.
University of Florida.
Yep. Yeah, I was managing the UF Computing Help Desk supercomputing support. And we had just built the Hypergator, which was really, really cool.
I'm sorry, the what?
Hypergator, which was the supercomputer at UF. We had like 32,000.
The Hypergator.
Yes. Yeah. We had 30.
Gator is the mascot of the University of Florida, and this is the Hypergator. Yes.
A high performance computing.
I see.
So, and so we had like 32,000 processors working in tandem, and it was pretty amazing. But I had a side job managing at the help desk because we didn't have the user base to like make that my full-time gig. I was the identity access manager, and I helped build the restricted data environment with that team, and we just didn't have enough users yet to make it full. So I was still working at the help desk, and that was the most toxic job environment I had ever been in my entire life, and still, to this day, it's the most toxic environment I've ever been in.
Why?
The man that was managing it. I mean, he got fired a couple years later. I was still there when he got fired. Sexual harassment and a couple of other things. He was married with multiple kids and started a relationship with a student employee and promoted her multiple times. I mean, stole my ideas numerous times. I mean, it was so toxic. They tried to keep me. Then they wouldn't give me a pay raise because I didn't have my degree. I left early. So it didn't matter how much I could program. It didn't matter how smart I was. They wanted a piece of paper.
Right.
And I realized that that's academia. So I had to leave academia. And as soon as I left academia, I was able to move up in my career. And I was able to take on work that I actually enjoyed doing and learn more, which is what I wanted. So
everybody wins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is there something, Kat, you believe strongly in 10 years ago you no longer believe?
Yeah, I think I believed 10 years ago that I couldn't break into the C-suite of cybersecurity and tech, and I was wrong.
Definitely wrong.
Yes, definitely wrong.
The moment that you realized was what? What happened?
When I had someone I had a CEO ask me for help.
Huh.
And then another came, and then I got that job at the White House, and then it was like, okay, I'm actually reporting to the OCIO at the White House.
OCIO.
Office of the Chief Information Officer. And that right there, I mean, there's a level of pressure there.
Yeah.
And I only did that one project, but still, once I got there, it was like, yeah, I'm not afraid of this anymore. I know I can do this, and I know that I have the knowledge, which is what's important. You have to be able to fix the problem. They don't care about anything else. Or they shouldn't.
Started my tech business back in the 90s, Kat. I was working way too much, 14, 16-hour days, you're no stranger to this.
Hell yeah.
Putting my health in the back seat and developing poor diet habits. So I'm in front of the doctor. She tells me I'm at 340 pounds. So I gained all this. I didn't realize I was that big.
I did not know that about you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Good for you,
46
man.
inch waist. So
Want to show your love for discipline, inspiration, and the Joey Pinz podcast? Now's your chance. Introducing the brand new Joey Pinz merch store, where style meets discipline. Choose from premium apparel, cozy hoodies, stylish hats, durable bags, and your new favorite coffee mug, all featuring the iconic Joey Pinz logo. Perfect for podcast fans, discipline enthusiasts, or as unique gifts for friends and family. Every purchase supports the Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations podcast, helping us continue to inspire greatness and promote positive change. Visit joeypins.com/store today and wear your discipline proudly. Joey Pinz merch. Wear it, share it, and live it.
she says to me, if you don't lose this weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate. So my daughter was just born. Scared
it's
the life
harsh.
out of me.
Yeah.
Driving home, punching the steering wheel. I did this to myself. The decisions I make don't just affect me anymore. They affect. So spent the next 6-7 months, lost about 120 pounds and kept it off. So you got to look at these things as lifelong,
Absolutely.
not a finishing line, right? So when I tell people this, they always say, what's your secret? What you do? I say, there's no secret, just discipline, right? Routine, focus, willpower. How does discipline play a role in your life, Kat?
Oh, God. That's such a good question. And honestly, power to you, man. That's awesome. I have done the same thing. I was 360 pounds at my heaviest.
Whoa.
My AS, my ankylosing spondylitis, went undiagnosed until I was 36.
Wow.
By the time I was at that point, I was 360 pounds.
Wow.
When I figured out what I had, I was able to actually fight it. When you can name what you have, you can fight it.
Right.
If you can't name it, you're living in hell.
Yes.
You're going from doctor to doctor. They can't figure out what you have. And then once I was able to do that, I put myself on a regimen to be able to, walk and get up and be more active. But it was more diet choices and try a mix of things and getting on the right meds. Honestly, that's
All
what
the
did
difference.
it.
Good
but
for you.
it's showing up. It's just for me. It's showing up even when you're in pain, like today. I drove here and I'm in pain and I'm still here doing this. That's success in my definition, and sometimes that's all it can be. But you just do. You just push through.
What motivates you?
My family, I think, is probably the biggest motivation, which is probably why my company's mission driven to protect them. But
nice.
Also my company now. I think, I feel like that's going to be my legacy. And my legacy is going to be the number of families that we can protect.
Your own family or legacy. You just said that's how you define success. But if you were to define success based on those motivators of legacy, helping others, impact.
Find your truth. Find what gives you joy to wake up the next day and get to work. I worked too many jobs in the past where I was miserable.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to do it anymore, Although I say that we in cybersecurity have the luxury to be able to say that because there are so many jobs.
Right.
So a lot of people don't, and you get stuck. And that's, that happens. And so you have to find joy in little things. And I did that for a long time, that was joy in the little things. But now it was really finding something that drove me and gave me passion, made me happy. And tech's always been that. It's always been that thing I wanted to learn more. And I like solving problems. So.
Solving problems is something, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Once you create a solution like that.
Yeah.
There's
a power in that.
There is a power in that. Is there anything in the last month or so you changed your mind on?
Oh, yeah, there's always things I change my mind. I mean, you have to adapt or you die, man.
Yeah.
And tech, we adapt so fast, especially on the cybersecurity side. If you don't adapt and you don't change things, then you're going to become stagnant, and then you're a thing of the past 5 minutes ago, So.
Very true. Yeah. Absolute delight talking to you today, Kat. Anybody watching or listening, how can they get in touch with you?
ZoraSafe.com is our website. But
Zora Safe. Zora Safe.
Yep, that's it. And LinkedIn. I'm always on LinkedIn. So Kat, Karow.
Kat Karow, Karow, like you said. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Joey. I appreciate it.
Great pleasure.
It was nice meeting you.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.